Athletics Now brings you Running the Show Week 4. First, we stop in the United Arab Emirates for the Standard Chartered Dubai Marathon. Then we head to Japan and check out the Osaka Women's Marathon. On to the USA and New York City and the inaugural U.S. Open Athletics Indoor Athletics Meeting. We then head to Australia and the Adelaide Track Classic. We do our turn in Scotland and the city of Glasgow for the Aviva International Match. A quick stop in Antwerp, Belgium for the High Jump Gala. And we wind it up with a stop in the Czech Republic for the Moravian High Jump Tour. Our first stop is the city of Dubai and the Standard Chartered Marathon. This year's race featured more than the usual assortment of Kenyans and Ethiopians thanks to the largest prize purse in the world of athletics. The 7 a.m. start brings out more than 12,000 runners who will attempt the classic distances of 5,000, 10,000 meters, and the marathon. A large pack of runners followed the somewhat slow pace from the start and reached the halfway point in 1 hour, 2 minutes, and 22 seconds. However, the 40-kilometer mark was a demarcation line as the large Ethiopian crowd cheered on the unheralded Ethiopian Ile Abishero, who made the decisive move running negative splits to record an astonishing finishing time of 2 hours, 4 minutes, and 23 seconds, a course, national record, and the fourth fastest time in marathon history. The day turned out to be an Ethiopian feast of prize money as second and third prize also waved the red, yellow, and green standard. As well, on the women's side, defending champion Aslay Merja also recorded a national and course record of 2:19:31. It was the first time 3 women finished a marathon in under 2 hours, 20 minutes. Running the show now heads to Asia, the country of Japan, the city of Osaka, and the Nagai Stadium for the start of the Osaka Women's Marathon. The Osaka Women's Marathon is an elite 2012 Olympic selectors event that consists of a field of approximately 500 women. All the top Japanese female Olympic hopefuls laced up today. The early fast pace was guaranteed by a series of quality pacemakers that quickly pared the lead group down to about 10 runners by 3 kilometers. But that field was reduced even further to 6 athletes by 5 kilometers, which was passed in 16 minutes and 55 seconds. The fast pace whipped 2008 Olympic champ Konstantina Dita into a no-factor status, as well as Japan's race favorite Keioka Fukushi on the right, who staked ground at the rear of the lead pack and never threatened. The hot pace continued through 15 kilometers, which was passed in 50 minutes, 35 seconds, and trimmed the party of 6 down to 1 pacemaker and 2 runners. However, Fukushi was still lurking just off the rear. By the turnaround point, at 22 kilometers, there was only the pacemaker and 2 runners in contention. And by 27 kilometers, the pacemaker was dropped, and the last woman standing was a relatively unknown Risa Shigatomo, whose latest surge put her clearly ahead of former cross-country skier turned elite marathoner Azusa Noir. And by this point, she had left Fukushi way behind. Risa chucked into the stadium with an 18-second lead over second place and never looked back as she was on course to record her first big marathon win in a final of 2 hours, 23 minutes, and 23 seconds, a course record, the 9th fastest Japanese marathoner of all time, and more importantly, placed her atop the short list of Olympic choices for her country. Running the show heads to Glasgow, Scotland for the Aviva International Athletics match in the men's 60-meter sprint featuring legendary Kim Collins versus Brit Mark Lewis Francis. Collins gets a great start and holds the Brit at bay, but at 35 meters, Mark speeds overtakes Collins' quickness and he gets the photos finish at the tape, it appears. Germany's Christian Blum books a tight third, and the United States' Ivory Williams travels a long way for fourth place points. The photo says Francis first, Collins second, Blum third. The men's 800 meters was host to what is perhaps the UK's best early season middle distance performance in a long time, as Joe Thomas handily defeats a stellar athlete in the form of Kenyan Boaz Lalang over 800 meters in a great early season personal best of 1:47.35. But the event everyone was waiting for was the men's 1500 meters, as summer superstar and Olympic high hope Mo Farah is up against Kenyan Augustine Shogi in a step-down distance for the Briton, who was clearly not the favorite. Shogi took the lead in a race he considers his territory, as he has a personal best that is a full 7 seconds faster than Mo. However, the crowd nor Mo seemed to care about that, as Shogi led for the first 900 meters, but Mo never gave up and chased the forefront with 600 meters to go. Shogi fought back, but it was clear that Mo's kick is even sharper than it was before, as he held up the Kenyan and recorded a new 1500-meter personal best of 3:39.14. The last athletics event of the Glasgow Stadium almost seemed to end one era, but also welcome a new era of British athletic achievement. While the new era in America was the inaugural USA Open, featuring old-timer Bernard Lagat. Lagat, a chronic mile winner of this track, was beaten by Kenyan Silas Kiplagat by 0.3 of a second in the final meters of this new event with an old 11 lap to the mile track. In the men's 50-meter dash, Asaf Powell opened his Olympic year campaign with this convincing win, as Jamaica went 1-2, defeating, among others, 2004 Olympic gold winner Justin Gatlin in the process. Powell was part of the Imagine Jamaica Sprint Sweep trio planned for London this summer. While on the women's 50-meter dash side, Veronica Campbell sustained the growing sense of Caribbean invincibility in the power sprinting events. There was no question of Campbell's dominance, as her margin of victory was eye-popping against a quality field. The women's 50-meter hurdles featured American Lalo Jones returning from injury, as she gets a late start in the blocks, but makes up her lag with quickness and superb technique. Tiffany Porter of England shows her great form as she breaks a 31-year-old British record in the 50-meter hurdles. Running the show heads to the Adelaide Track Classic in Australia to take a look at Lalo Jones' #1 threat, Australian world champion Sally Pearson. Pearson looked absolutely stunning as she handily beats a domestic field in the brilliant time of 11.3, running into a stiff 1.4-meter headwind. Pearson, who lost only one race in 2011, is the paper favorite for Olympic hurdle gold, as she shows no sign of weakness at this point. 40 minutes later, Pearson again demolishes the competition and the clock as she chucks a 23:11 200 meters into a stiff 3.6-meter headwind. Yes, a 3.6-meter headwind and a 23:11 winning time. The Adelaide Track Classic also featured Aussie discus thrower Danny Samuels, as she unleashes this massive 61-meter throw of the classic device. Yes, of course, it is the longest throw of the year thus far. Among those two Australian bright spots was the disappointing third-place finish of 2008 Olympic pole vault champion and #2 vaultman of all time Steve Hooker. Hooker has not lost to a domestic challenger in 5 years. Is the hook finished? The high jump gala in Antwerp, Belgium, and the return of Belgian homegirl Tia Halibut is our next stop. Tia is a super surprise Belgian high jump Olympic champion who has not competed in 18 months due to injuries and the birth of her daughter. Tonight, Tia cleared a hefty 1.95 meters in her comeback before a sympathetic home crowd. Twice retired, tonight showed a great return to form and fitness. However, 2011 world champion Anna Chicharova was on hand to flawlessly clear 2 meters to spoil the happy Halibut homecoming. Although Halibut has to be happy with her 1.95 clearance in this Olympic year return. And now more jumping action from the Czech Republic. A nice 2:31 clearance by Briton Ani Samson was bested by first Andrei Silnov. And then a chart-topping, world-leading 2:35 was cleared by Russian Dmitry Alexei to send everyone else back to the planning room.